The eAssist Dental Solutions podcast. We are the nation's leader in outsourced dental billing. Our clients require highly skilled dental office managers that can consult with client offices.
So welcome everybody to the eAssist Dental Solutions podcast. My name is Andre Quintana and back again with episode number 3. Unbelievable how time is moving and taking us places. I just want to let you know that I'm so excited about this podcast because it has been an amazing journey so far. With just 2 episodes under our belt, we're already moving mountains because some of the stories that we have shared about what great things eAssist is doing for the dental industry, it's just something that I take a lot of pride in. Today we have a very great episode that I'm just getting so excited about right now. But a little bit about eAssist is we help do dental billing for you. We help accounts receivable management, and we have other services where we take the pressure away from the dentist and the dental staff. But you just really have to get in touch with us. You go to www.eassist.com to really find out what products and services eAssist can really assist you with. So now I won't delay anymore because we have a very special guest. Her name is Belle DuCharme, and she is with us today. How are you, Belle?
I'm doing great, Andre.
This is great. This is a great afternoon in North Carolina, and you are somewhere in California. Can you tell us a little bit about where you are and what you do with eAssist?
Well, right now I'm in my second home, which is kind of a getaway home in Warner Springs, California, looking out at the beautiful mountains. It's going to be a gorgeous day. And I'm very excited to talk to Andre today about eAssist. What I do for eAssist has evolved, and sometimes it's hard to actually describe everything I do. But as far as a title, you can call me Director of Training. I'm also Director of Continuing Education, PACE, P-A-C-E, which is the Program Administrator Continuing Education through the Academy of General Dentistry. And some of the other hats I wear is editor of the newsletter. I write blogs for eAssist. I write articles for eAssist, and I write articles for other publications. And I just do a lot of different things, but my main hat would be the Director of Training.
Wow. And you know, I got so excited at the top of the show because you and I talked briefly, and we saw how things come full circle and how we connected. Because let's just say that I didn't say everything that eAssist will do for you, but they will post the EOBs on a daily basis. You know how much of a difficult task that is, Belle. Review all dental claims for the doctors and for the staff. I'm not talking just for the doctors. And the reason I say not for the doctors is because the doctors are just doing dentistry. The doctors want someone to report to them the great things that the practice is doing. So if a doctor has to get involved with claims, forget about it. The practice really needs help at that point. But beyond the doctor, we're talking about the claims, denied claims that the staff has to do on a daily basis. They take that away from the staff too. Isn't that amazing? They also the other things they do is they verify all the insurances that are not sent. For example, finding out if ID numbers are missing or incorrect. Imagine all these daily tasks that take your most important employee or team member off your front desk. And in my case, for example, we used to lock that person, not lock, I'm sorry to say that, but that person used to lock themselves in an office. And of course, I needed Maureen to be out on the front desk, guiding, delegating, hugging patients, all the wonderful things that I love to do when I see a patient come into the office. What are your thoughts about that, Belle?
Well, I can tell you, Andre, I have about 45 years experience I don't want to age myself, but hey, I'm proud of every year. Frankly, I am. I earned those years. I have about 45 years in dentistry, an extensive background as a clinical dental assistant, and then I became an office manager, solo practices, group practices, specialist practices. Anything I could learn, I wanted to learn about dentistry because it's a huge passion for me. One thing I did learn as an office manager and also as an insurance coordinator, if you have to do both, the practices that are large enough, they usually have one person that is an insurance coordinator because they have to sit on the phone, they have to call insurance companies, they have to deal with appeals and denial. And a lot of practices can't afford that person. They have one person doing all of it. But if you need that touchy-feely person that's going to hug your patients and make them feel good, and she's just come off a phone conversation about a denied claim and she's upset about that, it's hard to switch that emotion off to say, hey, how are you doing today? How was your visit? So good to see you. So eAssist comes along, and I've been looking for eAssist. I've been looking for them for 2 decades to help dental offices. We just never had an outsource for dental claims and sending patient statements and following up on appeals and things like that. We never had an outsource. We had to do it all in-house. It takes a tremendous amount of time and energy on the phone, which takes the time away from the patient. Like if you want to spend time talking to a patient about treatment and treatment options, a lot of times that is short-circuited in practices because the time to call to verify insurance coverage, the time to mount an appeal, which requires collecting a lot of data, taking copies, writing narratives, doing research. All this takes a lot of time, and it takes the time away from the person that's running your practice and supposed to be dealing with your patients. So we've done time and motion studies, and we find out that the average practice spends about 3 to 4 hours a day either researching insurance coverage and verifying benefits, appealing claims, but not just that, but explaining to patients how their dental benefits work. That takes a lot of time too. So you've got about 4 hours you have to spend dealing with insurance issues for the practice. It means less time talking to patients about treatment, less time connecting with patients, getting to know them. It becomes administrative tasks take over, and that's where practices get the reputation as not being friendly, kind of a factory feel. People feel like they're being pushed through. It's not that people don't want to spend time with the patients, that they just can't. It's not there for them. And that's where eAssist is so beautiful, because it takes that stress, it takes all that away. And I know, because I would get a big fat Delta check on Monday morning, several $1,000s, and here I am. Monday is usually the busiest day of the week. Here I am trying to post DOBs, answer the phone, check patients out, explain treatment, get them scheduled for endo at the specialist, follow up on the patient that went for perio, all that stuff that you have to do in a day and juggle it, and then post a bulk check accurately. And make sure you're doing your adjustments. It's a big job at the front desk, and if you can hire someone or outsource to someone like eAssist, it's a dream come true. I wish eAssist was around when I was an office manager. It would have made things so much better.
I want to say something because
I can go on and on.
Yeah, no.
You gotta stop me.
It's beautiful, because I only touched the surface at the beginning of the episode. Honestly, maybe about 50% of what they do, because then you have something as simple as secondary claims. Okay, attachments.
Oh yeah.
Okay, then we also go to aging reports and the detailed log that you have to kind of go after when these claims are late. One of the other things that you just touched on, which was so great, that when I started thinking about a company that I didn't know existed before I knew that eAssist existed, I used to then do some of that manually, because what I did was I told my team, just stay at the front, just deal with the patients, and then I would hold this big, stack of checks, and I myself used to stay after 5 o'clock and sometimes get home at 8 o'clock. You're right. On a Monday, when all these checks come in from Friday and Saturdays that were not in the office, and I used to get home 8, 9 o'clock on some of those big days. Right. And my family, my kids were little, and they needed me at home. And, my wife needed me to help her. I love to cook. I love to do things, in the kitchen. And I was not around on a Monday evening. So, wow. And we've come full circle, Belle, because I started off where I saw the beauty in eAssist, and I saw the great team that they have, and I wanted to be part of it. And so I just took anything that I could take to be part of that team. And so I spoke with, a team member that we agreed that I could maybe help out with the newsletter sales. And then I find out today that you are involved in the newsletter sales. How do you do that? What position do you have with them?
Well, it was a passion of mine. I believe that a newsletter is one of the best ways for any business, not just dentistry. And this is for dentists and dental offices, solo, whatever practice, to have a newsletter to reach out to your patients. And as a form of communication, you can use it for many venues on marketing, advertising, information. It's a wonderful way to stay connected to your patients or clients, is a newsletter. And we didn't have one at eAssist, and it took me about a year because we needed to pull the team together. I'm not an IT person. I didn't, I put together this little, I cut and pasted this thing, how I had a vision.
It looks beautiful.
This is how I want it to look, but I don't have the IT experience to put it up there. So we pulled together this great group. J.C. Brown and Micklin Moorhead are just amazing designers and marketing. We put this thing together, and we started the newsletter. And of course, we wanted to evolve, and we've added a couple more parts to it. And it's wonderful. I just feel great about it. And so I started as the main writer, and I've been nurturing and creating some other people that work within eAssist that are account managers, account executives, to contribute articles to the newsletter. We do pay for that. Mm-hmm. And it's just it's a passion that continues to grow. But the main focus is we want to stay connected to our valued clients and dentists and their staff, and by giving them articles and information, we give software tips, coding advice. Mm-hmm. A lot of things that they can use are in the newsletter, and we're just really passionate about it.
And I don't want to give too much away, because we have some great ideas when it comes to the newsletter. So for all you dental teams out there that are listening to our show, just stay tuned about the newsletter, because you're going to have plenty of opportunities to find out what this exciting newsletter it's all about. Now, we have a lot of work to do, because we really want to dive in about what makes you great and what the company has done for you and how it really has changed your life. So, Belle, everybody loves a turnaround story where an office may not be up to speed, that pulls together and comes on with a winning side, while protecting their privacy. Can you give us a story about it, and give the eAssist audience out there a story about what you have done to turn an office around in the past?
Well, Andre, I've turned a large number of offices around outside of eAssist, and I thought, hey, I know how to do this. I can bring this to eAssist and turn an office around, because I know what to look for. I know how to spot. I have a really good eagle eye, I have to say, when it comes to claims. And I got in as an account manager, and I was having a lot of fun. I was assigned an office. I just wanted one office, because I was also doing other work in training and consulting. And I wanted that feel of being in an office again because I love the environment of dentistry. And I love the challenge of getting doctors paid what they've earned. And if there's any way that I can turn an office around, I'm going to find it. So I was given this office that really, from the outside, didn't look like it had a lot of problems. There weren't, a lot of complaints about the money or anything, but I was looking at it and I said, you know what? He may be paying his bills, and things may be going good, but I'm looking at all these little weak areas that we could help. But one of the areas was there was a pile of claims that had been denied. And I started looking. First thing I look at was, were they actually denied or were they rejected? And so several of them were rejected because, for instance, the subscriber ID on the patient had one number transposed. And so none of the claims were paid on this person. And all the family members that came in afterwards, and they came in for several visits, they had a few $1,000s in money sitting on the books, and the claims they just kept sending them out. Please pay. Why haven't you paid? And they kept saying, the subscriber ID is wrong. But nobody had the time to really look at that, so I looked at that and I got that straightened out. So one by one, I looked at it. Is this truly a denial or is this a rejection? And so I have to look at the numbers that go out on the claim first. And even if it's a gender, the software will default to male usually. But if the patient is female and you don't change that gender to female, that's going to reject the claim. And it's going to sit there because you got the wrong gender. So simple things like that. So this office had a lot of simple things, which told me the operator on the other end that was putting in information was not really a detail-oriented person, or maybe was just so pushed for time that got sloppy and didn't go back and check their work. So I turned that practice around, but what I did to really turn it around was give them suggestions at the end of the week. And the beauty about eAssist is you've got this partner who not only is filing your claims and getting them out there correctly and helping with the process, but is going to give you some ideas at the end of the week and some suggestions to look at when entering. So I started making suggestions. Just be really careful that you mark the right gender, that you double check that the subscriber ID is correct, or Social Security, whatever the numbers may be. They had a lot of claims, too, that they were using an in-house code to bill, and after, like a post-visit scaling and root planing visit, they were using an in-house code, which was not a real American Dental Association code. The ADA owns those codes. They're the only one that are allowed to issue codes. So if you use an in-house code and you try to bill it to an insurance company, well, it's going to get denied over and over and over again. So I found several of those, and then I put in my notes, please do not use this in-house code anymore. It is not recognized by the ADA. The insurance company is never going to pay on it. So little by little, not only was I helping them get claims paid, but I was educating them. And that's the beauty of eAssist. We're not only in there to send out the claims correctly, appeal claims, investigate, follow up, but we're there to educate the practice on how to do better work. That's the beauty of this. That's what I love. That's why I love training. And when I see training, I'm not just talking about training employees. I'm talking about training the people in these practices that we work with to help, training them to do better work.
The beauty in everything that you're saying is, for our audience out there, for eAssist Nation and all the people listening, is that you're listening to someone who has so much experience and appreciation for the dental industry. And not just someone that has joined the industry. And what they have to say, a person like that, is also very important. But when you have done all these things in multiple offices, these are comments that are definitely really worth listening to if you're just starting out. If you want to join a company, for example, like eAssist. And in my background, Belle, I have done training for eye care offices and dental offices combined, and you have a background in consulting, as we have discussed. Because of that, can you educate everyone listening about how partnering with eAssist can make you connect with patients again in the way that is ideal for making the practice go to the next level?
Well, thank you, Andre. Yes, that is a very good question, and it is very what I call an in-depth question, because in my mind, my mind is going in all these different things that how eAssist can make and improve communication at the level the patient wants. And when you think about what the patient wants, oftentimes I go into a practice and I find, or in my trainings of people in practices, is I try to see, is this a practice that's employee or staff focused, or is this a practice that's actually patient focused? So the practice that is embroiled in a lot of administrative tasks, and it's got some broken systems where, say, the scheduling always falls apart. The schedule falls apart. Now you have to get on the phone, but you're stressed out because you're supposed to verify these insurance benefits because a family of 5 is coming in at 3. And you have to find out if they're even covered, if they're eligible, what their benefits are, if they're going to have any out-of-pocket costs. All these things are racing through your mind. So if for patient relations to get better, the practice has to decide, are we going to be administrative task or staff-oriented, or are we going to be patient-centered? When you talk about patient-centered practices, the focus is on the patient, not the administrative tasks. My feeling is you need to be able to connect with these patients on an intimate level immediately. When that person walks through the door, how many people really like to come to the dentist? Not very many. That person comes through the door, they need to be greeted, taken care of. Would you like something to drink? This is our restroom. Let me give you a real quick tour of our practice to show where we're going to be treating you and some of the things that we think are special. Who has time for that? That's being patient-centered. eAssist gives you the time to spend with the patients that you've always wanted. And studies have shown over and over and over again that if you give patients what they want, the attention that they need, you focus on their concern, why they came to see you in the first place, you have time for them, they're going to feel comfortable. They're going to start to trust you. They're going to be open to purchasing more services from you, or at least giving you the opportunity to educate them about the services, and maybe down the line they'll decide. But so many practices are so focused on tasks and administrative stuff, they don't have the time. I tell you, they don't have the time. eAssist gives you the time to connect with your patient, because we do that administrative stuff in the background.
That is so true, because the other part is that my doctors that I've worked with over the year, I always asked, what is the biggest concern that we have that is, holding us back from getting to that next level? And the same thing was said in different ways, but doctors really want what is said to the patient to come out the same way they would be able to communicate to the patient. But there is no guarantee that when that patient walks out from a treatment room all the way in the back, that when they get up to the front desk, that the same communication in the same manner. A lot of times when it's a new patient and the front desk doesn't know the way that patient has to be nurtured, I guess is the right word. They don't know that, from the back. Only the doctor knows that. And maybe the doctor is running, 20 minutes behind. Of course, they don't want to do that. But you have the hygienist, waiting for them for an exam, and maybe something with a crown. They have to re-impress, and all of a sudden they're 20, 30 minutes behind. And then they see this new patient, and they can't quite communicate all that. A lot of times, if some of these tasks are being done for you on the back end, then the staff and the team can probably be more ready and equipped to communicate better with the doctor. There might be even more interaction between the front and the back of the office. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yes, you have the opportunity to have a higher level of communication between the front and the back, because you're not scurrying around trying to move a person out the doors because another one's in and you've got all this stuff you have to do. You have the time to connect and spend some time with the patient. And it's not about adding more hours to your day. It's about efficiently managing your time and your tasks, because the dental office is designed that all its administrative tasks, all its administrative stuff is right there in the reception room. It's pushed out into the reception room and circles into the reception room. I hate that, because outbound calls to insurance, people calling in complaining about a bill, all that stuff is right there in front, and people are absorbing that. eAssist can actually take those collection calls off your plate. They can do account billing for you. We are all specialists and well-trained and very experienced in dentistry, so we know how to treat people on the phone. We can take that part, so your patients sitting in the reception room are not privy to your administrative tasks, which I feel they shouldn't be. But the design of practices make it so the administrative stuff is right in the patient's lap.
Belle,
where it shouldn't be.
I want to tell eAssist Nation out there that this is an amazing encounter, because we didn't practice for this. We only talked for a few minutes prior to our show. And I love it when people can click on all cylinders. You said something really important just a minute ago, because one of the things that makes the treatment plan presentation so unique and so important is that when I have felt rushed to educate the patient about their treatment plan, I have gotten less done with that treatment plan, or the presentation didn't go so well. I would not communicate it the way I know if the doctor had had the time to drop what they're doing and do it herself. Instead, it felt like I almost needed another extra day to be able to go over the same treatment plan that I could have done the right way from the beginning.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
that really came from being rushed, from thinking about, oh my gosh, the phone is ringing off the hook, and I have all these claims, and that I'm worried about, and all the things that we talked about at the beginning of the show. Wow, this is, and you and I spent a little bit of time just simply connecting about some of the great ideas that will happen when your practice is running smooth, because of being able to hand off some of these tasks, like we talked about, loving on the doctor, loving on the patient, and loving on your team.
That's right.
Isn't that an amazing thing?
Yes, and turn it around, because when you pull that energy away from all those tasks and you put that energy on your patients and your staff, things just blow up. I mean, your practice will do so well when you focus on the patient.
That's great. This last question that I have for you, it's a little bit personal, okay? So we know your passion. We heard your passion on the show. We heard about your experience and appreciation for the dental industry. But how has eAssist helped maintain your interest and hunger for your dental career?
eAssist has given me the opportunity to share my wealth of knowledge with other people that work within eAssist. When I first came on to eAssist, I had embraced that message to Garcia, which is one of our signature Oh, it's a long story about Message to Garcia. I would recommend anyone read it. It's a very, very short book, but it's about work ethics and being accountable. And the other level would be you take that accountability and you just go with it. In other words, if someone gives you a task, you don't find reasons why you can't do it, or you don't say, I don't have enough background to do that. I don't really know how to do that. You find the answers. You find how to get it done. And within that realm, I thought, well, this is good, but something's missing here. What we need is each one of us working in ESS has this plethora of knowledge. We need to share it. So I wanted to put in an email pipeline. So in other words, and Dr. Anderson said, he was open to it. If you want, somebody would say, if you have a problem with a claim, you have a question of a code or a problem with getting it and you don't have the answer, send an email out. It has worked wonderful. It's what I always wanted. A sharing of knowledge, a sharing of all this wonderful skill and talent that we have in all these people, male and female. We have men and women working in ESS, sharing this information. So, for instance, if I had a denied claim and there was a code that went out on the claim and it was denied and it said wrong code, and the person said, I don't get this. It looks like a right code to me. They put it out on the email and said, hey all, anyone can help me with this code. And so everybody answers, and then we find the right answer for them. No dental office has that. So if you have a person doing claims in your dental office and they're trying to figure out how to code something, they don't have 150 people they can go to for an answer. So to me, that is a level of passion that takes my passion to a higher level. I just love being able to help people with coding, and I will do whatever it takes to find the right code. A lot of codes are outdated or they've been revised. And believe me, since 2012, the ADA has been putting out revised codes, brand new codes, deleting codes, and it's a science to keep track of all these code changes, and a lot of the offices don't. They're not able to keep track of all these changes, and that's why eAssist, the passion I have for eAssist is another level that we can share our knowledge base. We call it a brain trust because we can all help each other. And it's like, for me, it's like no one that I work with in this organization is selfish. They are the most generous people I have ever met in my life. And I think it comes from our founder, the kind of man that he is, and Sandy and Dr. Anderson and JD. Very special, very talented, very generous people. And it's I have to say, I'm used to in other worlds that I've worked with, that if I would go to somebody and I would say, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? I would get this, what do you want to know that for? Or I think you'd even look that up. Or I just get ignored.
Right.
Totally ignored. So this passion for me with eAssist gives me the opportunity to grow and expand in ways I never had working in a dental office.
Wow.
And just to throw something in, Andre.
Yes.
Many offices that I worked in, they didn't want you to succeed. I worked in an office many, many years ago, back in the 80s, and I was fascinated by computers, and I thought that was something that was going to be the future.
Right.
And I was a receptionist, and I worked with a paper appointment book, and the office, the doctors, and they were looking into a computer to do the bookkeeping part. And I said, I really want to learn about computers. I think that if we could make appointments on computers, that would be great. And they looked at me like I had just fallen off the turnip truck. And one of the doctors came, and he patted me on the shoulder, and he said, Belle, you have a beautiful face and you're wonderful with patients. You just sit here and you don't need to learn about computers.
Right.
You know, they're kind of a flash in the pan. You know, they're going to go with it. And they're not. And everybody at eAssist embraces computers, embraces technology,
yes.
embraces the software. Everyone wants to learn more and more and more about the software.
Well,
and,
I just want to say that.
You know, I could go on and on. I'm
no,
sorry.
I know. It's easy to do that. It's easy to do that because I am living proof. I basically could just concentrate on being a good CEO for my company. But, you know, I wanted to stretch myself and do something great for a company that was doing something great for my company. And that's why I'm here with eAssist. I left the office just a few minutes ago, like I told you, because we had this amazing interview to be able to have today together and really share with the universe out there, with eAssist Nation, as I've been calling them, all the great things that are happening. So at this time, we are really out of time because we have given you, Belle, I really feel that you and I are going to be on another episode in the near future because we have so much more to talk about. So I hope that you're open to it. I hope that you have enjoyed this as much as I have. I just want to let everybody know that if you want to restore balance in your office, then you need to get in touch with our office at 844-eAssist, 844-327-7478. Belle, I just want to thank you for your expertise and your time that you took from your busy day and from your clients, and say thank you once again. And please mark it on your calendar because we need to set that next interview with you and I.
Okay, Andre.
Can you say goodbye to our audience?
Well, thank you all for listening, and I really hope that we can help you in the future. And thanks again.
And we'll see you soon.
We hope that you have enjoyed this episode of the eAssist Dental Solutions podcast. We love to put the spotlight on the individuals for their outstanding work for our clients.